Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live on In Between Media. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the whole damn channel, jingle that bell for notifications. Happy Mardi Gras, everybody. Laissez le bon temps brûler. We are having fun. We got the Bay Hill Arnold Palmer Invitational. Arnie Palmer alert. Let's go. We got it going. We also got the Puerto Rico Open for all the Ticos out there. It's going to be a great time. Let's hit it after this. From Bo McBrayer, that's Conor Coughlin. We have reached Tim Burke's here for the hat. It's about 45 minutes away, Tim. Be patient. Hold your applause to the end of the show. Conor's still muted. He's got to figure his shit out already. This is the 19th hole, and we are covering two tournaments today, albeit briefly with the Puerto Rico Open. It's all about the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill. Side of 8 PGA Tour wins for Tiger Woods, a couple for Scottie Scheffler, and one for some guy from NorCal. We'll cover that in a little bit, but Chelsea Pulford in the house. Hello.
I was just put myself on mute prematurely. I mean, I've read what our news is going to be today. It's going to be you talking for like 25 minutes. So
it's funny that you put it on mute, and it was almost like you read the comments from previous shows where like less Conor, more Bo.
Yeah, you must be watching a different show.
It was the show when I was sick with you and Mike. Why isn't Mike talking more? He's got his microphone on too much.
I mean, my first parlay into hosting. I mean, I personally I think it went fine.
Yeah, it was not bad.
I mean,
you met your own expectations. You exceeded mine. No.
Which means a lot coming from you. I mean, honestly, because nobody is better at anything than you are.
I don't know about that. Steve Anderson in the house. He's our boots on the ground here at Bay Hill.
We got some inside info from Steve.
Steve is on the ground at Bay Hill right now. He's going to be there all week. We're thankful for his insight on how the course is looking, what changes have happened across that property, and the 72 guys that are in the field for this week at the Arnold Palmer. It's going to be a great week. It is one of the best non-majors of the year. It is a signature event, so we get the big money. Very few of these guys are going to miss the cut. It's going to be fun. Conor, are you drinking anything tonight? Are you still doing
I'm still keeping it dry-ish. Like I've drank socially, but I haven't drank on the show yet this season, so we're kind of rolling with it.
I'm going with my usual lightly caffeinated cold brew.
Yeah, so in about 15 minutes, you're going to be twice as insufferable as normal.
That's the limit does not exist.
Yeah, no beverage this week. I think
next week I'm going to bust out the Blantons, I think.
Well, a buddy of mine got me a nice bottle of Woodford Double Oak single barrel, so store pick one. So almost brought it up here tonight, and then I was like, is that the kind of party I want to have tonight? I don't know. So we'll ease in.
As long as I'm the most inebriated person going to the grocery store after the show, then I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Let's hit the news and notes from around the world of golf. It is the news Niblick. Conor, are you ready for the news?
I've never been more excited for a news segment than I am for this one, let me tell you. All right, kids. Well, I'll be back in about 15, 20 minutes. So enjoy both.
Mute. I always forget that I have the power to mute you too.
Hey, I got producer credentials over here. I can message you.
Oh, that's good because for years you didn't. Literal years, plural.
Yeah, and I still don't even know what
even
the
Seth is
do.
in the house to confirm that.
There's a couple over here, man. I might just press them later to see what they do. Honestly,
that's gonna be fun. Producer
dice.
Conor over here. We have Nicolette in the background. She's actually doing a great job. So thanks to Nicolette for doing the background producing here, because without somebody else, we are absolutely awful at this job. So we're very thankful for Nicolette back there.
For any of our viewers, you can tell when Nicolette's here because nothing gets jacked up. Like
the banners are always going. We don't forget to hit the drops, or we can't find the drops. Yeah, that's all me when that happens. When things are running smoothly, Nicolette's back there fixing it for us.
Yep, we're gonna force Nicolette onto the show one of these nights.
In the news, I know you're all excited for the Arnold Palmer Invitational, but first, Joe Highsmith, FTW for the win. Nobody was on him. I was on him earlier this year twice, and he didn't make the cut in one of them, and then he barely made the cut in the other. And this week I decided, well, I had a lot of good bets. None of them were really panning out for outrights before this started. The only close one I really had was Jordan Spieth top 10. But on Sunday morning, Pacific time, I saw a little bit of a pattern going. Joe Highsmith shot 64 on Saturday, and he put himself not really in contention at that point, but closer to contention. And then he birdied a couple of his early holes on Sunday, and he was 3 shots back. He had like 8 guys ahead of him on the leaderboard, but he was 3 shots back. And I was like, this guy's playing really, really good golf right now, especially for how the course is getting more and more difficult. It was super easy earlier in the week, and that's why we saw Jake Knapp 59 on Thursday. What a crazy round that was. One of the best rounds you'll ever going to see, even if PGA National is playing like a putt-putt. Nobody else out there shot 59. But that Joe Highsmith kind of heat check, I just threw it out there. It was plus 1,800 on DraftKings. So I put $20 on him. Our guy Steve put a few bucks on Joe Highsmith to tail, because luckily I had a little bit of time to tweet out that I was putting a live bet on Joe Highsmith. I also put one on I don't even remember who it was, but he was at 30. Oh, Taylor Montgomery, because he was rolling a hot putter as usual. He's one of the best putters in the world, but his swing didn't look as jacked. Yeah, his swing wasn't as jacked as usual. So I was like, oh, what's the use? He was actually ahead of Highsmith at the time, 2 shots back, but he was 1 hole more advanced, and he was plus 3,500. I wasn't going to bet on Taylor Montgomery, except for the fact that he was closer to the lead than Highsmith was, and his odds were twice as good. And so I put those 2 bets down, tweeted it out, and thankfully Steve saw it, and Steve bet it. And so we both had a fucking party when, as soon as I placed that bet, Joe Highsmith birdies 5 of his next 6 to get a share of the lead with Jake Knapp. And then the 11th hole happens where Jake Knapp decides he's going to be a moron and try to hit 2 balls, not 1, but 2 balls out of the mud, and triple bogeys number 11 and knocked him out of contention. And after that, it was, okay, the only thing we have to worry about is Joe Highsmith going through the bear trap, which trips a lot of people up. That's why we get so many big swings. That was kind of in the back of my mind. It's like, maybe Joe Highsmith stays hot, and by the time he gets to the bear trap, everybody else around him will kind of fall back to him. That's what usually happens at this tournament. I didn't know that Joe Highsmith was just going to go scorched earth birdie machine on when the course is playing as close to even par or over par that whole day, and he's going out there and shooting 7 under when everybody's having trouble breaking par, and we freaking won by 2 shots. 18-1. I won 360. I believe Steve won over a couple hundred. That's how we do it.
I can't take anything away from you. I mean,
it was a wild hair, bored out of my mind at work on a Sunday bet, and it totally paid off.
Yeah, I mean, luck, right? Luck favors something.
I just saw that this dude was playing out of his damn mind, 64 on the weekend when the course toughened up dramatically. That's an incredible stretch of golf.
Well, and if he didn't have the 72 in round 2, I mean, he wins this thing pretty handily. And Bridgman was right there too. Bridgman also shot a 64 on Sunday.
Yep,
and then
65 on Saturday. He made the cut on the number 2.
I regret. I had Spawn right now. It's super high for me last week, and I just kind of ignored it.
And me too. I couldn't do it.
And even, I mean, Spawn actually, he's same deal as Highsmith. If Spawn shoots a decent round on Friday, I mean, he could have taken this thing down pretty easily too. So, the numbers are right, and the numbers like Highsmith too. We just weren't on him from the jump. It took a minute to get back around to him,
and it's surprising because I've been on him twice this year. He didn't work out. But
I think there were just a lot of guys that made so much sense that popped up in the model last week that it was just kind of
it was a lot. There was a lot of good plays last week, and most of them didn't pan out, but Joe did. Did you see the stat on the weekend? From Saturday and Sunday, Joe Highsmith gained 11 strokes on the field in 2 days. That's ridiculous.
Well, it is, it's just good golf all the way around. He did it mostly with the putter. I mean,
which is crazy because he was nearly dead fucking last in putting on the PGA Tour coming into the weekend. I think he finished 8th in the field in putting.
Well, and he gained 6 strokes putting. I mean, at the Cognizant. So I mean, he putted really, really well. I mean, his overall tee to green was, he gained almost 7 strokes there. So I mean, it's
he's been a great ball striker. I've always loved his iron play, which is why he modeled well. I just wasn't sure about his putting on a course where you have to be able to putt on Bermuda. Apparently, he just found a hot putter, and thanks, Joe.
So Bo's got a little bit of a hot hand right this second, and Bo had a hot hand here at one point at this course.
It's one of my fondest memories is 2023. Let's go back to 2023. What was it like? We were before a lot of the guys had gone to live. Some of them had already gone to live at this point, but John Rahm had not yet. So we had a Sunday finish at Bay Hill with Scottie Scheffler. I believe Will Zalatoris was in the hunt. John Rahm was in the hunt. Pretty much Rory was in the hunt. Rory's always in the hunt here. We had 5 of the top 6 guys in the world chasing this title, and my dumbass decided I was going to go homer pick on basically shot shape, high ball flight, right to left ball flight, who can hit the ball a long way with good long iron play. 250 to 1 long shot from, where's he from, Conor?
Somewhere in California. Please tell everybody.
Chico, California, in the dirty 530. Kurt Kitayama, who back then I already knew he was on tour. I've followed him his entire career, all the way from DP World Tour to all the other mini tours he's been on. I played against his older brother in high school, not successfully. His older brother was really good too. But I bet no, but I think I put like 20 or 30 bucks on 250 to 1 Kurt Kitayama. And after the first 2 rounds, he was in the hunt. He was 9 under through 2 rounds. And that ended up being the final winning score because Bay Hill, as usual, playing brutally difficult and very fast. And Kurt Kitayama found himself a hot putter and got up and down from all sorts of precarious positions with the 5 of the best golfers on the planet chasing him down. And he stared them down and got it done. And I'm still spending that money as I talk to you 2 years later. It's a fond memory. The Bay Hill, the Arnold Palmer Invitational is always going to be a special tournament for me because that's still the biggest hit I've ever had betting on golf, because it was a homer pick, but it also had some stats behind it. We talked about it quite lengthy on that show that week about why I was betting on Kurt Kitayama. And it's the same thing. It's like we are looking for a prototype player. Regardless of their odds, they have to fit here. Obviously, you're going to bet on Scottie Scheffler if he's not plus 330 like this week, because he's the best golfer in the world and he's won here twice. You're going to bet on Rory McIlroy at plus 800 because he's won here once and he's never finished worse than 21st. These are guys that fit this golf course well. Well, what is Kurt Kitayama except for a guy like Rory or Scottie who doesn't maybe have as good of a short game, not as consistent.
I was going to say, I think you're being really, really generous with not quite as good a short game.
Yeah, it's quite a big difference. But as a ball striker from tee to green, especially that year when he was really rolling, that was the year he competed in the U.S. Open. He was right there the whole time. This is the kind of place where you need a grinder, and that was kind of what we were looking for, was a long shot grinder who fit the course, and he just so happened to be from the same hometown.
No, and he's and now flash forward, knowing what we know about Kurt Kitayama and watching some of the tournaments he's done well in. Of course, it makes perfect sense that he won here. I mean, it's his type of track. And if you go back and look at that 23 leaderboard, I mean, it is
the most stacked. It looks like a Masters leaderboard, really.
It's wild. I mean, he held off Rory, he held off Scheffler, he held off Spieth and Cantlay and Tyrrell Hatton, and you got Victor Hovland was right there, Jason Day, Cameron Young when Cameron Young knew how to play golf. Boy, that was nice, wasn't it?
That was a brief
Bradley, Matt Fitzpatrick when Matt Fitzpatrick could play golf, Max Homa, same deal, Justin Thomas, like all these guys right there chasing him down, and he held him off. So it was a hell of a week and a hell of a hit. And yeah, I mean, I think if there's one thing we could say, I think Bo McBrayer was probably first to the table with Kurt Kitayama, at least in the betting world of golf. I hadn't heard anybody talk about him until that. So
yeah, I guess, and nobody really had been talking about Joe Highsmith either. So let's keep the good times rolling. Laissez le bon temps rouler. Shout out NorCal. It is Mardi Gras, so we got a party. Finally, Arnold Palmer alert. Arnie Palmer alert. Arnie Palmies. We're at Bay Hill. Yeah, it's just like the other guys. Shaved.
It's Christineth.
Christineth, are you dumb?
There's more to that scene, but we'll leave it out.
Yeah.
We'll keep
it. It's quite naughty.
Over the years, you and I have indulged in some Arnie Palmers on the show, and we historically have done really well at this tournament too. Not just your hit. We've always had a pretty good eye for this place. So
we had Scottie the year before. We had Scottie at 22-1 in 2022. It was just it's been a good money maker for us. So who's Welch?
That's our other friend Tim that shows up to the show every now.
Yeah,
and then.
I was like, Tim Welch is a friend of the show. But yes, this is one of our favorite events. We're going to get right into it with the Caddie Notes, Conor Coughlin's favorite baby, especially for Bay Hill Golf Club. Bay Hill is sacred ground in Orlando, Florida. I gotta hit the drop though.
Oh, see. Steve mentioned in the chat that he misses Hatton out there. I miss Hatton out there a little bit too.
He's pure entertainment.
Pure entertainment.
All right, Conor, tell us about Bay Hill.
I would love to tell you about Bay Hill. So we are at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, probably referred to as the API here on out. It is at the Bay Hill Club and Lodge in Orlando, Florida. Par 72, 74, 66 yardage, Bermuda fairways, Bermuda greens. 72 golfers in the field with a cut to 50 and anyone within 10 shots of the lead after 2 rounds. Bo talked about it already. Bay Hill is incredibly tough. It's one of the toughest that we see year after year. So much so that it doles out the highest amount of penalty strokes on tour year after year. So
there's
several approach shots to greens protected by water. We were talking to Steve earlier. Steve was letting us know that 17 now they've eliminated the front left bunker, so there's even more carnage.
The ball's going to roll instead of into a bunker, it's going to roll into the water. Yeah.
I anticipate seeing that happen several times.
Oh, yeah, especially with that back left hole location. Sunday hole location is going to be so much carnage.
Bo is just going to be in hog heaven. Fairways here are pretty narrow. A lot of forced layups, taking distance out of the equation somewhat. I think that you do have some advantage with some of the bombers here, but you got to be pretty damn accurate off the tee. So it's distance and accuracy, which is not all of those guys.
No joke.
The rough is beyond thick. As a matter of fact, normally we would say that the only thing you're going to see with thicker rough is a major. Based on what we're hearing from Steve on the grounds, I don't even know if we can say that anymore. It sounds like the rough is almost 3 inches deep in spots.
More than 3.5 to 3 3/4, according to Steve, which it would be if it was bent grass rough or rye rough or Kikuyu rough, that wouldn't be as bad. But this is Bermuda rough. Bermuda grows like this. And it grows low to the ground with the tufts. So when you get 3.5 inches of Bermuda rough, it's going to land here and immediately sink to the bottom. And good luck getting your club face on the back of the ball.
Oh yeah, no, it's rough. You don't want to be in the rough at all. Yeah, and on top of all of that, the greens here, even though they're massive, are usually lightning fast, really hard to hit and stick.
Very sloped.
Then you marry that to the fact that you're going to be catching not great ball contact out of the rough. If you're anywhere but the fairway, that's not going to help you landing and sticking these greens. And then furthermore, this year we're going to get the added carnage of the weather. The wind is already gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour. Sunday is supposed to be horrific if the weather stays tracking where it is. I think it's supposed to get up 30 plus miles an hour.
It's going to be brutal.
Score here rarely
single digits.
Hardly ever gets into double digits. Every once in a while you'll see it happen.
Unless you're Matt Every, it doesn't happen.
But yeah, there's what else we got to talk about here? 9 holes have water firmly in play. There's a ton of strategic bunkering to narrow the fairways even more. This place has got over 80 in action, so it's got everything and all the mixings to make for a really rough week for these guys, especially adding in the weather this year. So
key stats:
carnage, man.
Scrambling and bogey avoidance, accuracy, and putting on Bermuda, double bogey avoidance, strokes gained off the tee. Obviously, strokes gained on approach plus 200 plus is key because of the forced layups, where length off the tee is not as much of an advantage. But if you can hit long and mid irons well, and keep them in the right tier of the greens, because these greens are huge, but they have 3-4 tiers. They're shaped like a damn potato chip out there, and they're lightning fast. This is a challenge of the whole bag. And if you can hold your head above water and score on the par fives, and there's 4 par fives, obviously, and then there's all these very brutal par threes. The par threes are gargantuan. The par fours are pretty good variety, but a lot of tough ones. It's mainly if you hold yourself even par on the 3s and 4s, and then make your birdies on the par fives. That's the way to win here. That's how Tiger won pretty much everything. Is he would just obliterate the par fives and just keep making 4s on the par 4s.
Well, what's weird about the par fives though too is like I know you weighted it and so did I for par 5 scoring. Now to your point, it's the best opportunity to score with any regularity. But when you look at the scores, I mean, we're not talking about guys that are birdieing all 4 par 5s every day. Like,
no, they might make if you get 2 a day, you're in business.
100%. So I mean, it really is a lot more about avoiding giving strokes back this week than it is about scoring. Like if you can take par, feel pretty damn good about yourself. So, but yeah, you nailed for the most part everything I had stat wise that I was looking at. I mean, obviously there's some nuance we can get into as we go through the bets, but yeah, for the most part, it's a test of the whole damn bag. So
love it.
The cream will rise here. I don't think we're gonna. The long shot hit was really nice to have, but I don't know that we're gonna get another one of those.
No. Not especially now that it's a limited field event. It's a lot different than it was 2 years ago. All right, what do you say we bet on some golf, Connor?
I love where your head's at. Truly.
All right, check out the club twirls. DraftKings Sportsbook as of right now. I got it up right now. Scottie Scheffler plus 330. He's pretty good. He's won here twice, 2 of the last 4 years, and plus 300 now. Yeah, so it's short odds. Short odds. But as strong as this field is, can we really count the guy out? I'm not keen on him at plus 300 or plus 330, but if he slips more than 5 or 6 on Thursday, I'll have my finger hovering over that button, because this place, the leaderboard can flip upside down in a second, and nobody gives themselves more scoring opportunities on tough golf courses than Scottie Scheffler. Nobody avoids bogeys like Scottie Scheffler. Nobody hits it close on approach like Scottie Scheffler does. It's not dumb to ever bet on Scottie Scheffler to win a tournament, because he's really good at that. But maybe pump the brakes on betting him now through when he tees off on Thursday. Conor, any disagreement from you here? It's as great as he is. He's number one in my model. He's not. It's not possible to find him lower than 5th in most models. But it's like, what's your take on Scottie this week?
Yeah, I'm a live bet or don't bother at all. 300 is too short for him in this kind of field. And the other thing too is I ran my model for 24 rounds, so the most recent 24 rounds, and I know he was coming back from the hand injury. I know, like, we're obviously he popped off last 2 weeks ago. But yeah, when you look at Scottie statistically right now, he is struggling around the green. He is struggling with some of the scrambling stuff. So is he going to compete? Yes. But I think to Bo's point, it's probably a live betting opportunity. It's just, you're not going to get a long enough number leading up to it. And you can't really get any kind of decent number on a top 5 or a top 10. So yeah, I would say unless you are 100% fact certain that you think Scottie Scheffler is going to just come out.
Or if you have a lot of bankroll to push in the middle with a lot of risk to it.
There's guys, believe it or not, there's just guys I like a lot better than Scottie this week. Like, it's really tough to say. I don't know that I'm going to bet him even live, but I don't know that I'm getting there this week. There's guys that I just think have a much better chance of winning.
And you should tune in on Sunday afternoon and watch this again when Scottie inevitably holds up the damn trophy and wears the stupid red sweater for the 3rd time.
I did that. Yeah. I know it's a hot take. It's
really hot, but not quite as hot as Rory McIlroy at plus 750. I got him at plus 800 yesterday. He's 8 times here. He's never finished worse than 21st. That's pretty good. He's won here once. He's finished top 5, I believe, 4 times. This place sets up really well for Rory McIlroy. His distance and high ball flight really come in handy. His strength out of the rough when he does inevitably miss some fairways, he's really good at. Number 2 in my model behind Scottie Scheffler, believe it or not. Mainly carried by his prowess on par 4s and, of course, driving distance. And honestly, it's surprising, but top 5 in this field in strokes gained short game and top 5 in scrambling. That's impressive. That's not a Rory McIlroy stat that you would necessarily correlate with him. Usually we see, he bombs it down there 350 yards. He hits a wedge to 10 feet and half of them go in. Half of his putts go in. But what we don't see from Rory very often is when he gets into trouble, how does he get out of it? And that's why he's done so well here, is because this dude is a grinder more than even he is a scorer. And that's why I really like betting him here, especially when he's shown that he's in some really good form this year. Really good.
Yeah, I love betting him here. The course history, the potential, depending on what Rory you get, the putter. If you look at the putter back at the Genesis, if he had just been flat with the putter at the Genesis, I mean, that 17th becomes a top 5 and possibly going for another back-to-back win. So just looking at what Rory's doing so far this season, I think it's a really, really good bet. Again, when you look at the total body of work so far in a few starts versus Scottie in the same span of time, like I think we're getting a much, much better value with Rory than we are with Scottie. Just coming in this week, Rory I think is just a little more prime. So I also don't hate the current top 5 number on Rory at plus 140 either. I mean, that's
plus money.
So,
and he's more than half of the times he's been at this tournament, he's done that.
Yep. So I'm all in on Rory. The 750 is what I got. I know you got a little better number, so I'm a little jealous, but still,
you got to be first to the watering trough. That's all.
Well, yeah, it always takes me a little longer to pull the trigger on Rory because I got to gut check myself and make sure I'm not being too much of a homer. So,
yeah, well, I think you just go. Yeah, and Steve agrees with me with the high apex ball flight because, yeah, if you can't hold these greens because you're coming in shallow, it's going to be a really bad time at Bay Hill.
The only tricky part about that with Rory, though, is Rory's not a bad wind player, but Rory is definitely not.
He's not Shane Lowry. He's not Shane Lowry. He's not Sepp Straka. And that the high ball flight, he's pretty adept at flighting it down when he needs to, which is why I'm not overly concerned if the weather does get really nasty in the weekend. But 10 to 20, he's gonna be fine. If it goes more than 25 miles an hour gusts, then we're looking at a lot of carnage for everybody. Honestly, it's gonna be the ones that are with the wind in their face. Good luck. Good luck.
Well, and hopefully he's in a position where we just watch survival style, and maybe a la what he did at Pebble Beach, right? Like where he showed restraint, which is like kind of something Rory doesn't do. And so hopefully we don't have to worry about it. He's just, I just don't mess up. Let's ride it in.
So I know you're keen on Xander Schauffele this week. I have him very, very highly rated in my model. I'm just a little worried because of the injury. This is first tournament since the century, first tournament of the year. He got hurt. Now he hasn't played since. His first tournament being this one, it gives me a little pause, honestly. It's like kind of like Scottie with the hand, except this is a real injury. Like it's not just he cut his hand open and got stitches. A real injury with Xander Schauffele, and he has taken enough time, but how sharp is he going to be if he gets out of position? Because Xander Schauffele is one of the best players in the world, but we don't know what he looks like right now. Any apprehension there?
No, as a matter of fact, like I think he's down to 16 now. I got him at 18. I love Xander this week, and part of what got me kind of okay to play him is I watched him at TGL on Monday night and was swinging the club absolutely pain-free, striking the ball very well. I know it's a simulator. I know you can't take a ton away from it, but they talked to him quite a bit about his.
I'm pretty good at the sim too. It's no pain in my swing at all.
I was intentionally watching to see if he was like grimacing on shots or if he was, looking a little gimpy or taking a little something off of it. And there was none of that. And they talked to him a little bit about his road back. And, he had played 18. He opted not to take the night off from TGL, which a lot of the guys did this week. So the fact that Xander went out and played it, to me, says there's no risk of re-injuring the rib. And so if there's no risk, Xander Schauffele on approach, Xander Schauffele on avoiding bogeys, Xander Schauffele in scrambling, proximity over 200 plus yards, like, he's number 2 in the world for a reason. There's a reason that there was a lot of debate back and forth about who's going to be player of the year, him or Scottie. This is seriously a guy that was giving Scottie a run for his money the entire tail end of last year. So love him here. I think it makes a ton of sense. And I'm a little different than you. I think if he is out of position, Xander actually, especially recently, has shown a propensity for getting himself out of trouble pretty quick. So
I'm not going to talk anything bad about Xander. He's one of my favorites to watch. He's coming in 30th in scrambling in my model and 56th on the long par threes that'll come into play. Other than that, it's all green across the board. I just a little apprehension with the injury, but sounds like he's fine. I just don't know if he can have enough. It's hard to say. But as for favorites, do you have anybody else?
I've got my guys are getting into the 25s. The last thing I want to say about Xander, though, is at literally 6 times the value of Scottie Scheffler. This is still the world number 2. I mean, like, it's a value play. Like, I think that's a silly number to pass up.
16 to 1 on Xander is pretty long. That's pretty crazy.
So,
but I think the injury is baked in. Like people are worried, especially with Rory and Scottie sitting there in front of him.
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I'd get the number. You're not going to see that number on Xander often.
All right. Going down the board. I like I did want to talk about Ludwig Oberg. A lot of people are hyping him up this week. I couldn't get there because this guy's scrambling has been a mess. It's been the kind of the downfall of his season. Ludwig Oberg, outstanding from tee to green, but one of the worst scramblers in this field, and it's going to come into play. It will come into play where Ludwig Oberg's short game is going to be challenged. His ability to play out of the rough will be challenged. We haven't seen him really face a lot of adversity, except for last year's Masters, where he very nearly took it down, except for he put that ball in the water on 11 and killed his chances. He still almost came back and won the Masters. This is a golf course that will not be forgiving. So I'm out on Ludwig Oberg, but I wouldn't also be surprised if he comes out and goes gangbusters because he's every bit as talented as it takes to win here.
I think something that people don't notice about Oberg is the amount of bogeys he gets.
Yeah, he's a scoring machine, but he's so aggressive.
And that's at a situation like this. He's not going to be able to make enough birdies, I don't think, to offset.
They're not out there. They're just not out there.
So it's purely a mathematical thing for me. Like, I just look at, again, to your point, the way that he plays golf. I mean, he's just very aggressive. Sometimes it works. Sometimes he pays, dearly for it. And this is not a place to have to be trying to make a comeback run. So I'll probably pass on him here.
I had to laugh though, because there's 72 guys in this field and he's 76th in scrambling.
He's also 79th in 3-putt avoidance. I don't know how that works.
He's worse than the starter guy and the marshal and the rules official.
He literally, the way our model works means that there were 6 dudes that withdrew, and he's worse than all 6 of them.
Yep. Yeah. So no Oberg for either one of us. That'll answer a lot of questions because you're hearing a lot of hype about Oberg, especially at 16-1. I can't get there. I'd much rather play Xander at that same number. That's the crazy loophole in the books this week. Patrick Cantlay has good history here. He's played like dog shit for most of the last 18 months. I can't get there at 25. But what happened to Victor Hovland? 50-1?
No,
can't do it.
No,
even at 50.
No,
he's played well here pretty much every time.
I forbid you to do this.
Oh, I'm doing it. I've already done it. I got him at 50-1 yesterday. I didn't pair him with. I didn't do a ladder like I do with a lot of favorites guys, but a 50-1 bullet on a guy with this talent. I do realize his chipping is still not great, but this guy is an amazing tee to green player, an amazing grinder. This guy has all the chops. I just think that he's back. He's going to be back. And this is where we find out that 50-1 for Victor Hovland is a little too far gone down the board.
Yeah, I can't get there, man. Like, he's just like, there's too many ifs for me with him right now. I love Victor Hovland, you know that. Like, we've been Victor Hovland fans for years, but the problem with him is he's back and forth on this putter. He's back and forth on his wedge profiles. He's back and forth with the swing coaches. He's not playing tremendously consistent when he does tee it up. And this is not one of those courses where it's not, you ain't going to get right here. You know what I mean? Like, if he were coming in with some momentum, maybe you look at it and go, he's rounding into form or he's finding it, but he's just not there yet. I think he's not far from it, but I'm going to be a pass on him. I see Steve all over Fleetwood, and I usually keep one or two kind of close to the best in a week. And Fleetwood's kind of my guy this week. I've been riding a little bit of Fleetwood, betting him every week that he's teed it up. I just love this.
And losing.
So you buy this narrative that he can't win in the U.S. Now, has he ever won in the U.S.? No, it's not really a narrative. It's more.
It's not the U.S. It's he can't win on the big boy tour.
I think he can, and I think he comes. I think he's got a real.
What's your evidence? I need evidence that he can win on the big boy tour, because all I've seen is him choking it up every single time he's in contention. This is, I think, a setup that makes a lot of sense for Tommy. It's a low scoring affair. He can go out and grind it. He
plays well in wind. He has a great long iron game. He's got a good around the green game. He's got good scrambling skills.
Says the person who keeps getting burned by Tommy Fleetwood at great tracks for him.
Just saying, if it makes sense, I'm gonna take my shots because Tommy Fleetwood looks good, man. He does.
He's a handsome guy. I agree, but he can't win.
But here's the thing, right? He's 30-1 right now. Here, and if you don't love my 30-1, go snag a top 10 on him. I mean,
I will.
10, he's plus 210.
He's a lock to top 10. Lock.
So yeah, in situations where it really could present itself for Tommy Fleetwood to win, like why not be on him? It does. This is a setup that makes sense for Tommy. If he's gonna get a win, it should be something like this.
All right, man. I like your other picks in that range more than that one.
Oh, I wasn't going to bring it up because you always roast me on it, but I saw Steve kind of talking about it. So I was like, all right.
It's great fodder because you know how I feel about Tommy. It's a top 10 lock, and then everything else is losing money. I need
fellow Tommy believers.
They're all across the pond wondering why he doesn't come back to the DP World Tour where he can actually win.
So I won't completely steal your thunder because I know you're on this guy. I think we really do agree on this. And one guy I love it plus 2,500 is Justin Thomas.
JT. We love JT. I don't love his number this week, but he's obviously very highly rated because this guy is a scrambling extraordinaire. He's an approach extraordinaire. If he can get off the tee in some fashion this week, JT will be in the mix.
Yeah, I keep having panic moments because there's a lot of trouble left off the tee, which we always talk about as JT.
He likes the snap hook. Hook.
Little snappy poo-poo for him off the tee.
He's seventh in my model. But yeah, the long approach is the only thing that really gets him, and off the tee's okay, but he's been solid.
It's been really solid. He's putting together a nice season, and I think stepping back, this is more the JT we thought we were going to get last year that never came to fruition. So JT is going to be hot this year. Again, to your point, a lot's going to have to do with how he gets off the tee. If he can keep it in the fairway, I think we got a real chance at seeing Justin Thomas win here. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't take much for him to get in his own head and start ripping them left off the tee. And if that happens, we're going to have problems real quick.
He's D-E-double-D dead.
But he is number one in this field over the last 24 in approach. He is in the top 20 for double bogey avoidance. He's in the top 5 for bogey avoidance. Number 12 for scrambling. We know he can get really hot with the short irons and the wedge game. So I think there's a real chance that Justin Thomas makes some noise here. So 25 in this field, I think it's an okay number with the guys around him. It's not as deep as I'd want it to be, but it's not bad.
All right, so I have a guy at 55. You have a guy at 55. Your guy's playing better than my guy, but my guy's more talented than your guy. Tony Finau for me, Daniel Berger for you. Explain your reasoning. I know you hate Finau, but as good of a ball striker as there is, and as good of a long iron approach player as there is, what gets him into trouble is if he's in trouble. He's not the best scrambler. Everywhere else is top 5 across the board for Tony Finau, but if he gets in trouble, he's dead. And then Daniel Berger kind of is the opposite, where he's like steady Eddie. I'm going to hit it straight. I'm going to hit it really short, but I'm also going to be really steady and not make very many mistakes. I don't know if Berger has enough like gasoline to get it done here, and I don't know if Tony has between the ears strong enough to win here. But 55-1 for each one of them, I can see merit in both bets because they are both in that range where you just say FOMO. I don't want to miss out when this happens. Berger's been playing great though.
Yeah, with Tony right now, he just can't putt, man. I mean, he cannot putt. He's 64th in this field over the last 24. I mean,
Kitayama was 79th in this field putting coming in 2 years ago.
I mean, but with Finau, he can't putt. He's not very good at scrambling, to be honest. I mean,
no, he's 65th in scrambling. It's not great.
So Finau is a little bit like Justin Thomas in my mind, albeit a much like longer, better number if you really believe Finau is on the same tier. But Finau, it's all dependent on what kind of iron game we get out of him. If he's sticking greens, then the other things are of no consequence. But if he's missing greens, he goes sideways super quick.
Yeah.
With Berger, I think I watched a lot of Berger last week at the Cognizant, and Berger just can grind and recover. It was the first hole he hits it in a palm tree. He goes back to the tee box.
He made a freaking par with a re-tee.
Chips in with a re-tee and just walks to the next hole and birdies it. So like
he shot 65 that day.
Yeah, it's moments like that right now. And then you hear Daniel Berger saying stuff like, this is the best golf I've maybe ever played. And you look at the stats and they're backing it up. So like,
and he's a Florida guy.
He is a Florida guy, plays much better down here. He's green across the board. He's gaining a ton of strokes off the tee, believe it or not, which is not usually where we see a ton of gain for Berger.
He's just accurate. Yeah, he's accurate.
And he's a really good scrambler. I mean, he's number 10 in this field recently in scrambling. Good at avoiding bogeys and big numbers, obviously, as demonstrated last week. So I just think I feel more, to your point, he is a little more like steady Eddie. But I think that's in a lot of ways what you need. So I think it's just a better value for him over Finau. It's less volatile.
Yeah, I don't know if his long iron game can hold up. This is a tougher course on approach than it was last week. The difficulty, of course, at the Cognizant was if you're out of position trying to get onto the smaller greens. It is a totally different animal. Here you're going 200 plus on a lot of approach shots onto big, fast sloping greens, and that's not Berger's game. Long irons have been a really big problem for Berger, even this season where he's playing well. So that's kind of where I was leaning Finau, because I've seen Finau just rip long irons and score in very difficult golf courses when he's on. The short game remains to be seen. That worries me. What does not worry me is both your last mid-priced pick and mine. I'm a big fan of both of them. They're both playing great. I'm getting a little more value on my guy, but I think we should beer bet Denny McCarthy versus the red hot, the scorching, sizzling Michael Kim. Holy smokes, is this guy playing great golf. But Denny McCarthy, horse for the course, great short game, great scrambling. If he can get around from tee to green, this guy's going to be in it at 75-1. Michael Kim is 65-1. That's the most steam we've ever seen from this guy on the odds board, but he's earned it. This guy's been a top 10 machine all season, and nobody's talking about him unless you're on Twitter, where he's probably the best follow on the PGA Tour for Twitter, because he explains how everything works as a member of the PGA Tour. It's some of the best information if you're interested in how golfers live. Michael Kim is the most transparent guy on Twitter, and it's been pretty awesome to watch him play great golf and tweet about it.
Yeah, he's a good social media follow for sure. Michael Kim, he's red friggin' hot. I do like the value on Denny McCarthy. To be honest, I made a decision between the two. It literally was the two of them. And
they're both great picks.
Yeah.
So either one. I'm not going to be mad at any of you watching this if you bet Michael Kim, because I think I'm probably going to pull the trigger on a Michael Kim bet before this show is over. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I think with him, I'm riding the hot hand a little bit. I mean, he's just been playing amazing golf. I think with Denny McCarthy, to me, again, it's another situation where we need a lot of things to align for Denny to win. Michael Kim is just showing a little more grit, a little more ability to kind of adapt and keep the hot hand going. So would it surprise me if Denny McCarthy did? Absolutely not. But it just came down to Michael Kim, I just think, has a little more grit to get it done. That was really the deciding factor.
And for me, it was the number and the short game. Like scrambling wise, Denny McCarthy's third in this field in scrambling, seventh in short game. And Michael Kim has been playing great with the short game this season, but historically that's been kind of his trip up, has been chipping and recovering. But so far this season, he hasn't had any of that trouble. I love both of these guys. I love Denny McCarthy. I love watching him play. The dude rolls the ball on the greens like a madman. And if he can get off the tee accurately, this guy is going to be in contention, especially if the conditions get tough. Because when you're faced with pressure, your best friend is being able to get up and down for par or even for bogey. Like a lot of these guys are going to be put in really rough spots where they're going to have to accept a bogey. And whether you go Jake Knapp and triple it because you're dumb, or if you play it smart and just get the hole over with and move on to the next one to bounce back, that's what we're looking for on this golf course. And I just think Denny is that guy. He's the quintessential get out of jail free card with his short game.
Yeah, I mean, just quick on that. I mean, the Denny and Michael Kim couldn't be more polar opposites from 200 plus. Like Denny is the best in this field. Michael Kim is arguably the worst. Yeah. But then you start looking at off the tee. Well, off the tee, Michael Kim is
way better
than Denny McCarthy is. It's almost the polar opposite there. And then you look at the scrambling. Like to your point, Michael Kim normally is not synonymous with around the green and scrambling and getting up and down. But right now he's fourth and around the green, third and scrambling. Denny's kind of right there in the lower teens of my model. So like they are really, really tight. Denny is getting a little more steam. Like his number has moved quite a bit today. It's down to 7,000. Whereas
I got him at 75.
and Michael Kim is just kind of staying stagnant. So like to your point, I think some sharp people are coming on to Denny. So, it's probably not bad to snag it.
All right, let's move on to those long shots. I just have a few. This is a limited field event. It's really hard to peg down good golfers who deserve to get some money behind them in this field. My guy's right here, circled on the bottom left of your screen. That's a Canadian Nick Taylor. This dude is way better than 120 to 1, especially on a course that's tough. It's a course that demands a really steady game. Nick Taylor is as smart of a golfer as we have on the PGA Tour. There's no question that Nick Taylor has the grit and the grind to get it done. We've seen it multiple times with his wins in recent years. Nick Taylor for me at 121 is just disrespectful for how well he's playing. Any pushback on that number? Because that's crazy to me.
No, I like that number on Nick Taylor. I mean, and he's got a really, really, really solid approach game most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He can get himself in a little trouble if he's missing greens. He's not the best around the green, but at 100 I'm showing him 110, so he's moving a little bit too. But
man, I'm getting all these values before everybody catches up to me.
But nonetheless, 110, 120 on Nick Taylor. I think to your point, I think he's a lot better than that. It's a really good value.
He's a multiple time winner over the last 2 years, and a lot of these guys haven't even sniffed a win on the PGA Tour, like Tommy Fleetwood.
Whatever.
I also have a little bit on Nick Dunlap. It's just 170 to 1 for his talent level. Do I think that he's got the type of game to win here? Probably not. But
oh boy,
170.
Nick Dunlap, I just watched take a driver and almost miss the screen at TGL tonight in his match.
So his number is going to get longer.
Probably that was
that's bad.
That was something else.
It was a shank.
Poor guy.
Like Kisner's shank where he did miss the screen.
Yeah. Pretty much same shot. But no, for real. Joking aside, like I'm with you. I do like Dunlap. That's a really good number on him. Normally really
I think it's gone down too. I'm trying to find him here. Oh yeah, he's 150 now. I got him.
Yeah, now he's 150. I saw him at 172, so I almost did it. I have him in quite a few DFS lineups.
Yeah, I mean it's not a good course fit, but this dude's got so much raw talent. It's insane. This kid has got the firepower.
He's got a lot of ability with some of the longer irons. I mean, he's 13th in the field in approach, which is not anything bad. Scrambling is actually really good. He's 25th in the field for scrambling, which is better than I would have eye tested and said he was.
You're right. Eye test did not say that.
And he's 7th from 200 plus. On approach.
That's the key one for me. Is I've been looking at this guy playing long irons, and it's gonna be fun. Yeah, no,
I all joking aside, I think that's a good bet.
I like your guy at 150.
Mr. Andrew
Novak. Yeah, he's been playing great golf.
Yeah, and he's been playing great golf, and he's good at a lot of the stuff we want him to be good at this week. Scores really well on par fives. He's number 8 in the field for scrambling and number 2 in strokes gained around the green. pretty good at bogey avoidance. He's a little bit like Oberg, like he can get himself in trouble because he plays so fast and so aggressive. But when you really look at Andrew Novak's, just kind of like when he's in the groove, he recovers well. Like if he gets off track, he recovers quickly, recovers well.
He's got a strong short game,
and he's got a memory like a goldfish, man. You watch him going around the course. I mean, he truly, him and Oberg have that same demeanor, right? Where like they hit like the worst shot you could ever hit, and then
it's like whatever,
they're just smiling, going about their business. So,
I'll do another one.
Yeah. So, and we've gotten close with Novak before. I mean, truth be told, do I think Andrew Novak can win in this field? I think that is a very tall chore, but he's 150 to 1 for a reason. So done dumber shit with $5.
I have plenty of times. I've done dumber shit with $20 on a Sunday morning than bet Joe Highsmith.
So the last one I've got is Justin Rose at 200 to 1.
Hey, I just talked about him yesterday on the Betting Pros pod. He was at 250 to 1 yesterday, and so I threw on a top 20 bet, a top 10 bet, and I've done way dumber shit with $5 and bet Justin Rose on a course that demands long iron play. What's going on?
Get it. I don't get it.
He is the perfect grinder for this course. We've seen him do it for 20 damn years.
I don't know. Did somebody fucking Tanya Harding him? Like, what happened? Like,
he's 18th in my model. He's number 2 on long par threes, number 4 on approach, and 11th in bogey avoidance. Seems good. He
has horrible course history, is the thing.
Yeah, and 78th out of 72 in short game. Is that bad?
200 to 1, and it's Justin Rose.
Yeah, I mean, it's what are our chances of him doing anything? Pretty low, but they're not 200 to 1 low.
No, Justin Rose is somebody at 200 to 1 that I can legitimately sit here and say Justin Rose could win this golf tournament.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
will he? That's the question. I don't know. That's I did mention him
a $5 bet.
Hell yes.
That's the last one I got there, though. Steve's question. You want to take Steve's question first? I gotta find the damn hat.
I mean, just odds aside, Scottie, Rory, Xander, and the top 3 guys in the world. They all have really good history here. They're all playing amazing golf. So yeah, odds aside, the top 3 golfers in the world should play well here, and one of them probably should win.
For me, it's in this order. I think it's Rory, Xander, Fleetwood.
Yeah, Fleetwood. I have it's like the 72nd ranked chance to win.
I'm telling you,
however many guys have won a PGA Tour event in this field, he'll be the first one on that list after all those guys that have actually tasted victory on the PGA Tour.
It's one of those things where I'm on Fleetwood already.
Ryan Campbell is in this field, and he has a better chance to win a PGA Tour event because he just did 2 weeks ago.
I love where your brain's at with
just
Ryan
saying.
Campbell. No, I'm telling you, the more that I'm sitting here looking at Tommy Fleetwood and how he sets up here, the more I'm liking it. So
hey, when he finishes tied for 9th and he pays me 2 to 1 and I run away laughing again. It's like it happens every time you talk about Tommy Fleetwood and bet on him to win outright. I'll just like, well, he looks really good here, so I'm going to bet him top 10 plus 250, and I'm just going to take my money and laugh.
There you go, Steve. Who you got, Steve? Put it in the chat.
Tim wants the hat.
The hat is primed and ready.
Hat.
Thankfully it was up here.
Hat. El sombrero.
I hope the hat picks Tommy Fleetwood. That would just be so epic.
If it picks it off my list, that'd be even better.
Number 22 in the model.
Oh, it might be. Oh, no, it's Ben On.
And mine is Adam Scott.
My Adam Scott's 21st in mine.
Ben On is not there. So yeah. But yeah, hey, I think
Ben on 100 to 1. That was an intriguing one for me.
I think it's Roars at what, 9?
8.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I'm gonna stick to it. I think it's Rory at 8 or 9, something like that.
Rory got the ladder for me. I'm betting the outright, the top 5, the top 10, and I'm parlaying all 3 of those. So if Rory does win, I get all the money.
One thing's for sure: there will be carnage.
Yes, quite a bit, and I can't wait.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a good watch. It always is. So
yeah, and next week we have the Players Championship.
Oh, did you want to throw your Puerto Rico bets out super quick?
Oh yes.
That you promised.
Yeah, I promised Puerto Rico bets. There's a couple guys that we both like there in Puerto Rico. For me, Rico Hoey and Chan Kim are playing great golf, plus 3,000 on both of those guys. And Michael Thor Bjornsson at plus 4,000. Bombers Paradise, Paspalum Greens. You're going to get the same kind of deal as Mexico Open with the Puerto Rico Open. Thor Bjornsson, obviously one of the longer hitters on tour. He's going to have a pretty big advantage. But the one guy we both agree on is Carl Phillips. Plus 6,500 is a complete insult to how good that guy is at golf. And on a course like this where the field is limited in talent, we're all going to find out why he was given Sunday Red's endorsement.
Yeah, Phillips is winning that thing. There is no doubt in my mind.
So Steve, I know you're in Orlando right now, but if you just take a couple-hour flight down to Puerto Rico and go watch Carl Phillips and place a bet on Carl Phillips today. Place a bet on Carl Phillips today, plus 6,500. That's bonkers. Top 5, top 10, ladder it all. Carl Phillips, the Australian, born in Indonesia, went to Stanford. Shout out NorCal. Carl Phillips is winning that damn thing, and he's going to be a huge payout.
Oh, yeah. Yep, it's Phillips all day long. But if you want one other one, I only have one other for Puerto Rico, and it's Antoine Rosner at 40-1. We've been
La France, Laissez le bon temps brûler with Antoine Rosner.
Hey man, elite iron play.
Yes.
It just got to come together for him, and this is a lesser field. I love it. 40-1.
Yeah, I've talked about Rosner plenty on this show, so everybody knows I like him.
Yes, sir. You and I are very aligned on Puerto Rico, so that's probably never a good thing.
Well, I mean, last year we were aligned on a lot of guys at Puerto Rico, and I think we won last year at Puerto Rico.
We didn't get API last year, or did we get API?
No, it was 2 years ago with Kitayama.
That's right.
Last year, Scottie won with short odds, and we weren't on him.
Yep, but we did get Puerto Rico last year. That's right.
Yeah, that was that was Bryce Garnett, Longshot.
Oh man, we've had some good ones, haven't we? All right, enough rambling.
Man, Steve's on top of that shit. Put it on Phillips earlier today. I didn't send him the show sheet, so he just knows.
Hey man, if you watch us, you know who Carl Phillips is. Although I suspect Steve knew who he was before us.
Yeah. All right. Next week, Players, TPC Sawgrass, another beautiful Floridian course with Bermuda, except a lot different in layout. It's another Scottie Scheffler live bet opportunity because this dude is a machine.
We also have the inaugural playoffs beginning for the TGL next Monday night.
The Bay Boys are going to win it all. You just know that. Best team.
I'm at LA, baby, at this point. But you know, I'm a Boston guy based on Rory. But not a single win the inaugural season. Not a great look.
No. I'm all about the Bay. The Bay, Ludwig Oberg. They got the dream team over there. Give me the Bay. The Bay Boys are going to win it all. TGL. Shout out NorCal. Join us next week for the Players Championship. The Players. All right. You love it? I love it. We all love it. In stream.